Assalamualaikum and hi sir. I'm Nur Shafiqa binti Mazli. My matrix is 8081891. Today I will present about data description and measure of center tendencies. In this assignment, there are 7 variables which is the age, sex, BMI, children, smoker, region and charges. For age variables, the value is from 80 until 64 years old. Type of age variable is quantitative discrete variables. For sex variable, it is divided by 2 categories, which are males and females. The type of this variable is qualitative categorical variables. Third, the value of BMI variables start from 50.96 until 49.06, and the type of variable is quantitative continuous variables. And children variables start from 0 to 5 children, and it is quantitative discrete variables. Then we have smoker variable, and it is divided by 2 categories, which are yes or no, and the type of variable is quantitative categorical variables. The region variable was divided to 4 categorical, which are northeast, northwest, southeast and southwest. The type of variable is quantitative categorical variables. Lastly, we have charges variable, which is the value start from Rn 1137.01 until the highest value Rm 51,194.56, and it is quantitative continuous variables. For measure of center tendencies, example variable of age based on manual calculation and using SPSS software, the mean for the age is equal, which is 39.62. For the median of age, the value also equal, which is 14. The value for mode of age same by using manual calculation and SPSS, which is 19. It means there is no problem why calculation means median and mode for age variable, because all of the value are same by using software and manuals. That's for me. Next, I will pass to my friends.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Shazza Husna binti Muhammad Siddiq, and my matric number is 8201945. Following that, I would like to represent the measure of position and measure of variation that our group has computed from this report. Based on manual calculation and using SPSS software for all measure of position, we compute that the quartile for the age, BMI and charges is equal for Q1 and Q3, which are the quartile for the age 27 and 53, and for the quartile age, the decile we choose D8 and the value is also equal, which is 55. The value for percentile of age is also the same, which is 62 for P95. Next, the quartile for the BMI is 26.60 and 34.40. And for the decile, we choose D9 and the value is also equal, which is 38.054. The value for the percentile of BMI is also the same, which is 39.5086 for P94. Then the quartile for the charges is Rm 4893.56 and Rm 17404.605, and for the decile we choose D7 and the value is also equal, which is Rm 14204.461. The value for the percentile of charges is also the same, which is Rm 36035.25 for P90. So, from this compute, we can conclude that there is no problem while calculating quartile, decile, and percentile for age, BMI, and charges variables, because all of the values are the same when using software and manual. After that, we can compute that measures of variation based on manual calculation and using SPSS software, which means the range for the age is equal, which is 46. For the variance of age, the value is also equal, which is 210.218. The value for the standard deviation of age is also the same, which is 14.499. Meanwhile, the range for the BMI is also equal, which is 33.10. For the variance of BMI, the value is equal, which is 32.601. The value for the standard deviation of BMI is also the same, which is 5.70977. Then, the range for the charges is also equal, which is Rm 50057.55. For the variance of charges, the value is equal, which is Rm 144091666.70. the value for the standard deviation of charges is also the same, which is RM 12003.8188. So, we can conclude that there is no problem with calculating range, variance, and standard deviation for age, BMI, and charges variable by using software and manual. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wana Fatini Isati binti Wan Fauzi, matrix number A20A2072. So I will proceed with the graphical and hypothesis testing. So the pie chart shows that Southeast is the most region they come from, which is 27%. Secondly, they come from Northeast region with 26%. Thirdly, 24% of people come from Northwest region, and lastly is Southwest region with 23%. The result from manual and using SPSS is the same, so there is no problem with the pie chart for region variable. Histogram based on output from manual and using SPSS, the output are differences. It is because the manual we use class to boundaries as a y-axis, but using the SPSS they refer to mean and standard deviation. But as we can see, the shape of the curve is still same for the both outputs. For hypothesis testing, the output show we have 350 observations. The mean of age is 9.62 and the standard deviation is 14.499. The standard error of the mean is 0.075. For table 2, the output for t-test value is negative 0.487. Then we have 349 of degree freedom, 2 tail significant 0.627. After calculate the critical t-test, the value is negative 1.6492. So we reject the null hypothesis H0 because of the critical t-test negative 1.6492 is less than the value of t-test in SPSS negative 0.487. For ANOVA, the table shows the result of the ANOVA analysis as well as whether or not there is a statistically significant difference between our group means. The value of F is 4.444 and the value of P is 0.036. Indicates that it is significant, which is less than 0.05 alpha level. This indicates that there is a statistically significant difference in the means of the various level of BMI variables.
Hi, my name is Siti Nushazwana Akila binti Muhammad Syawal with matric number A20A1967. My presentation part is correlation and confidence interval. The correlations between age and BMI is 0.114, which is positively correlated, and the test shows a significant relationship. R is not 0. The strength of correlation is moderate. The correlations between age and charges is 0.308, which is positively correlated. The test shows a significant relationship between these two variables. R is not 0. Furthermore, the strength of correlation is moderate. Next, the correlations between BMI and charges is 0.176, which is positively correlated. The test shows a significant relationship between these two variables. R is not 0. Furthermore, the strength of correlation is moderate. Based on the plot of correlation matrix, we know that the dependent variable is age and all requested variables entered. As conclusion, all charges and BMI are included in the model. From model summary, we can conclude that the R-square value is 0.099, which is 9.9% of the variation in age that can be explained by charges and BMI. The predictors is constant, which is charges and BMI. Question is age equal to 30.001 plus 0.156 plus 0.000. For every unit's increase in BMI, the age will increase 0.156. For every unit's increase in charges, the age will still remain constant. Next, Since VIF for all predictors are less than 10, there is no evidence of multicollinearity. The confidence limits range for age from 38.10 to 41.15. About 95% of the similarly constructed intervals include the population parameter. The confidence limits range for BMI from 29.8688 to 31.0693. About 95% of the similarly constructed intervals include the population parameter. The confidence limits range for charges from 12,329.7060 to 14,853.6064. About 95% of the similarly constructed intervals include the population parameter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad bin Muhammad Tahir. So I will talk about prediction modeling. So Y is equal to H, H equal to BMI. So slope B1 is equal to RSY over SX. B1 slope is equal to 0.2895. Based on data set, we can do Y is equal to 306981 plus 0.2895s. Here Y can be the value of H and H is value of BMI. The slope of the line is 0.2895. The equation cross the y-axis at 30.6981. So the conclusion is we calculate the measure of central tendencies for the numerical descriptive measure, which is a value that represents the center of a distribution. The three most commonly used measure of tendency for ungrouped data and grouped data are the mean, median and mode. Following that, we can compute the position measure of the sorted and lowest to highest data, which is one of 3 points that divide a data set into 4 equal groups in the quartile. Next, we do the hypothesis testing using the t-test and the ANOVA to compare the differences. Hypothesis testing is a process based on some sample data and probability theory to conclude whether the hypothesis is reasonable and should not be rejected or otherwise rejected. Confidence intervals are as well as prediction intervals expressed uncertainly in statistical estimate. However, these two intervals are related to uncertainties coming from different sources. The prediction interval predicts the range of observation against individual in the future will fall, while the confidence interval will indicate the range of possible value that will be associated with some statistical parameter of the data, for example, the mean pollution.